Hello, hello, it's your girl Miss T checking in for yet another video. I am today finishing off my roundup of my 2023 travels. So if you haven't seen my last video, please click on here. And today I will be talking about the final 10 countries I visited in 2023. So these are all the countries I am going to talk about today, starting off with the Czech Republic. So the main reason I went to the Czech Republic is one of my really good girlfriends lives in the Czech Republic. I hadn't seen her since I moved to New Zealand, to be honest. And therefore, since I was the one visiting Europe, I thought, actually, I am on this world trip. Let me go see my girl. I discovered that I also have another aunt who lives in the Czech Republic. So I thought, actually, we'll do both. And so I stayed with both of them. I think I was in Czech Republic for about 3 weeks. And I started off in Prague because that's where my girl Sarah lives. And then we went on a couple of tours, which was incredible. I love traveling with Sarah. Like, we've traveled together to a few different places, and it's always a vibe. We have similar temperaments. We calm each other down at times, but like, it was really, really good. Visited some of the spa cities and obviously had some spa treatments. And then they have these house spa cities where basically you're checked into a spa and you have treatments for like as long as the doctor recommends, which I was like, what? It sounds so lush. And then we went to another city. I apologize, I forget the names at the top of my head. And we visited some miniature castle places, which was really cool. So Czech Republic is one of the countries with some of the most castles per square kilometer, and so they have created a park with some miniature castles and palaces and like some of the grand architecture that they have in the country, which was really cool. Visited some mines, went underground, and ate lots and lots. Like, Czech Republic has really good sweets as well, so your girl was plumping out. And then after that, I went to Brno to visit my aunt. Again, really cool vibe. She is such an adventurous spirit. We explored a bit of Brno, explored there's another city that we visited. Like, when I first went to meet her, we went in Brno, in another city, and again, that was really lovely. I guess before I continue, there's like a string to the Czech story. But I think one of the things that I found interesting is because when I was in the Czech Republic, I was kind of staying and exploring with locals. And so the lens that I had is quite different from what I would have had if I'd gone to the Czech Republic on my own, particularly because of the language. So we did a lot of stuff, went to a lot of touristy places because both my aunt as well as my friend could speak Czech. Oh, and also with Sarah, we went to, I can't remember the name of the city, but like where Le Poop Hotel, if you've ever watched Last Holiday, that hotel that Queen Latifah stayed in, we went to visit that town, and they have lots of like geysers. It smells a little bit foul, but like there's a fountain of youth, because they say if you drink that water, it's really good for you, but it doesn't taste good. But apparently beauty is pain. So yeah, I think it's like stuff like that. Unless you are very well versed, I think it can be a little bit tricky to visit those places if you don't speak the local language. There's no one who speaks English, and therefore Sarah would speak to them, or my aunt would speak to them to get whatever it is that we needed, or to get directions and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that was really, really great. Had such a great time in the Czech Republic. I've been to the Czech Republic multiple times before. Like, I've been friends with Sarah for almost 20 years, Jerry. I'm getting old, guys. I'm aging. This is why let's get these travels done. I lie, I joke. there is no limit to how old you can be to travel. Like, so yeah, I was just really enjoying. And then lesson learned from just revisiting a place is wherever you go, I feel like there's always something new to learn. There's always something new to unpack, which is a good thing. As long as you have your eyes open. And it's also really great to travel with people you know and love and like create memories and experiences together. Then, while I was in the Czech Republic, I told you my aunt is an adventurous spirit. It's like I was reunited with a kindred spirit. Took a day trip to Austria, where we explored Vienna. We went on a walking tour. We went for lunch, had a bit of local food. One thing I found very interesting is this combination of just their political system, just how lax they are. Also, Austria is expensive, guys. If you didn't know, Austria, it is where Mozart and Beethoven, there's quite a few composers that came from there. There was a lady who, I connected with this lady because she was married by the king, if I remember correctly, and she was just tired and bored because of the limitations of royal living. And then she told her husband that, oh my God, I'm getting bored, I'm getting tired, I want to go and explore, because she was a massive reader. And her husband allowed her to go and explore. And I found that really interesting. And I'm like, she wants to break free. She wants to break free. I thought that was boss. I will place the name of the king and the queen. Oh my God. Oh my God, the wind literally just blew my notes away. Okay, I'm just gonna have to do what I can with what I have left. Oh my God. And for the first time, I hadn't taken pictures. Okay, so after Austria, I had a day trip to Poland. I'm not sure what I was expecting. So my aunt was like, oh, I know this really cool hiking spot in Poland. So we drove from the Czech Republic. Czech Republic is actually actually it's not necessarily just Czech Republic, but Europe is a very cool place to be based, like mainland Europe, because you can drive around and within hours you're like in a completely different country, different culture, different language, different food. And so yeah, I thought that was really cool. So we took a day trip to Poland and it was so interesting. I don't know what I was expecting, but like the grass, it was so lush, it was so green. People were quite friendly, and we did the hike. It was so beautiful. A little bit challenging at times, but overall really good, really beautiful. I loved it. And then afterwards we went fishing in this small town, and yeah, we then drove back home to Czech Republic, which I think is really cool. Lesson learned is sometimes you just have to see it for yourself in order to understand what a country has to offer. My previous knowledge, or the only picture I had of Poland, was the Holocaust, the concentration camps. But then it's like, that's just one story about Poland. That's one area. Because if I remember correctly, I think the concentration camps were in Krakow. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that was only one story, one geographic location. There's so much more. And I am curious to go back. Then from Czech Republic, I usually have a destination birthday celebration, and I had always wanted to go to Greece. I've got two beautiful girlfriends who live in Greece, and so I was like, I could kill two birds with one stone. And oh my goodness, the best decision ever. They live in Athens, so I stayed with them for like about a week and a half, and oh my word, it was just over a week and a half, but it was phenomenal. Like Athens was really interesting to me. Old city, busy vibes, in places modernizing, but it's like, I don't know, I just love the pace of Athens. It wasn't too hectic. They have beaches. I love the market days. I had 2 market days when I was there. I just went to the market, but because I don't speak Greek and where my friends live is like a more, it's like in the burbs, so it's not very touristy, so not a lot of people speak English. But then, guys, the power of sign language, not real sign language, but like you just point, you smile, I like, good, price. You learn like the few basic phrases that you need to know in order to get around. And like fresh fruit, sweet. The food there was great. I did a food tour, I did a cooking, and we just explored the beaches, the bars. Oh, they've got some nice bars that overlook the historic sites. Yeah, I think where I went wrong was I was comparing it to Rome, and that wasn't quite it. I feel like in Athens, they have kind of, in a way, embedded the old structures to a large extent to modern day living. So you're walking amongst the ruins, but then you've got your bars, it's still nice and pretty, but I guess it's not exactly what I was expecting. I think the lesson for me from my time in Greece, good relationships are just good for the soul. Picking up on our goals and where we're at, our challenges, working on solutions and that kind of stuff. And so I found that absolutely like good for my soul. And as if Greece, I had not fed my soul enough, that I was bordering like, there's a plane light above me. Anyway, this is the view I have. I'm giving in this view so that you guys can actually see my face, or else if I did it the other way around with the view in the background, it will be distracting, and also the light would not be favorable. So anyway, I was saying I was bordering on gluttony because next I was off to Japan. So for me, Japan is not a country that I had on my bucket list per se, but my cousin lives there. She's lived there for a while, and I hadn't visited her since she moved, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let me just come see you, spend some time with you. And while I'm there, I had two girlfriends who were also going to Japan at around the same time, so we synchronized our time and we came to Japan. So I spent about a week, just under a week with them in Tokyo. Vibes on vibes on vibes, like we did a lot. We went ninja fighting. We went to eat, even had some dangerous foods. We're exploring Japanese cuisine like to the T. We were trying so many local foods. We went labs. If you are ever in Tokyo, I highly recommend Team Labs. It's like an interactive gallery where you're exploring different elements. It's just done so well. You could spend hours there, but you need to book in advance because you can't just walk in and get a ticket. It gets filled up real quick. And then because we're adventurous spirits, it was hot when we were there, but this didn't stop us from those Mario Kart? Grew up on like Nintendo, Sega, Mega Drive. So the Mario Karts was something that was really interesting. And we went to drive the Mario Kart. It's quite intimidating because you have the big skyscrapers of Tokyo and you have the big cars, the busy roads, and you're in this little Mario Kart in the actual road. But that was really good fun. I would highly recommend it. You're not allowed to take videos or cameras, but like we had such a cool guide who took a few video evidence of this experience for us, which I really appreciated. And then after that, my friends left and I went to Tsukiji market, the fish market, saw them sword fighting. Like basically they were cutting tuna and it's like this big massive fish and then they use swords to do it. I found that very interesting. I went to a tea ceremony. I went to Shinjuku. I just got lost in the malls. I explored the city in so many different ways. I ate so much. It was fabulous. And also gardens in Tokyo, gardens in Japan. Oh, Zen life. Give it to me. I found and then went to Tokyo, went to Osaka, went to Nagoya, and I forget the name of the city my cousin lives in. And then we went to an island somewhere. I spent about a week and a half with my cousin, and I spent the rest of the time on my own. And I just loved my time in Japan. Like, I really didn't expect it. Like I said, I had no intention of going there. But there's just so many layers of like beautiful tradition. Some of it is kind of dying down because of modernization, but it's quite interesting to see like the modernity of technological advancements and the traditions kind of like meshed in to each other. So I thought that was really cool. Japanese culture is really, really fascinating. People are not having kids as much. Things are quite expensive for the locals. Learned a little bit more about the geishas in Kyoto. One of the things that I would recommend when you go to Japan is get the Japanese rail card. It allows you on the Shinkansen, which is the rail train, and you can more or less go anywhere. If you want to go on the really fast train, the bullet train, you might have to pay a little bit more, but most of the trains are quite good, and all you have to do is just present your ticket and you can get on the trains, and that allows you to explore different parts of Japan. And so I would highly recommend it. We went in July and it was hot. So yeah, just be mindful. Try to go to the beach one day with my cousin, and my body was just like, nope, we can't do this. We can't do this. So yeah, I really struggled with the heat. So yeah, lesson learned, the price to pay for modernity. So every step you take forward, you lose something behind you. Yeah, and then because I was in Japan, I was like, I literally can see South Korea from over here. So let me go see something. Hey, let me go see something. Yes. And so I went to South Korea, started off in Busan, a beautiful city, very interesting culture. I knew very little about South Korea before I went, but the few K drama things that I had been put on. And I found the people. So one thing I liked about Japan is like people just let you be. Having spent so much time in Asia, you kind of get used to being stared at and people just watching out to see where you're going and that kind of stuff. I found in Japan there wasn't a lot of that, but when I got to South Korea, people were just like, and I'm like, I can see you, and they're like, no. But they don't come into your space. They just leave you. They're just watching you do your thing. They have really good seafood. And funny story is when I got to Busan, your girl is cheap and cheerful. Like, I'm out here trying to make the most of my travels by minimizing costs because I wasn't born in money. And so I booked this hotel. It had really good reviews and it was within my price range. And so I booked it. I got there. The first time I was like, there's something fishy about this hotel. It's because they give you a welcome pack. And I opened my welcome pack and I'm like, okay, I get safety, but every guest. And then I later found out that it was a love hotel. And the concept of love hotels is because they're becoming more and more popular because a lot of people, I'm just sharing the information. Because a lot of people can't afford the houses, a lot of young people stay with their parents until they can afford to house themselves. And therefore, these love hotels are like a means to an end. And after I found that out, I'm like, oh, please clean my laundry. Can we just make sure everything is tip top? I found that very, very fascinating. But yeah, it freaked me out for a little bit because I think the concept we have of places like that, okay, at least I have of places like that in Zim or in the UK, it's like for working people. And I'm like, I'm not a working girl, so am I supposed to be in here? But like I even saw like families in this hotel. So yeah. I just hope that they did not give kids their own welcome pack, if you know what I mean. Exploring Busan was really fascinating. I met lots of really incredible people. The history of South Korea is actually very fascinating. Being on that side of the world, I think I picked up a lot more on Southeast Asian history, which I was not as familiar with. And I found it very, very fascinating. You go to different places. They've preserved a lot of their old towns, the architecture. They're so creative. And it was such a wonderful experience to explore. A lot of people speak English, and therefore getting around was not too difficult. However, when you go to the markets, it can get a little bit more tricky. But what I would recommend is download Google Translate on your phone and you'll be all right. But there are also some things that Google Translate struggles with in translating. But I guess you're trying to make the most of what you have, right? Another great thing to visit, I went to the fish markets. I just went on a couple of day tours to some of the temples, and I did a cooking class. I went on a food tour. It was such a fascinating experience. I learned how to make bibimbap. And guys, bibimbap, if I ever make you bibimbap, I care about you deeply, because the amount of time, the preparation is actually not so bad, but I mean, the cooking is not so bad, but the preparation, like, why are we julienning and then sub-cutting those, like, man, let's go to a restaurant, because I don't know if I can do that for more than 2 people. Even for myself, I'm like, hey, but it tasted so good. And then learning about like how different foods are used in different times of the year. Like seaweed is very important in Korean cuisine. Ooh, when you're in Busan, go to Shinsegae. It's the biggest spa in South Korea, if I remember correctly. And it's like this spa at a department store. And literally, I spent about 5 or 6 hours there. And you're just straight up chilling. There are different rooms that do different things. You can get a treatment if you want. There's food. There's a restaurant in there. That place, highly, highly, highly recommend. Don't skip it. Yeah. And it's actually, I think it was about $20 or $30 for 4 to 6 hours of just being in different rooms, and you completely relax. I thought that was a very, very good investment. I lost some jewelry in there, but that's it. I got so carried away. I was so dreamy. Nothing else mattered. And then I left my jewelry. And then I only remembered when the stress coming back. Oh, yeah, where are my earrings? I need a pretty face. The capital, Seoul. I went to the DMZ. Very interesting to see the border between South Korea and North Korea. We were overlooking North Korea and found it very fascinating. Again, not sure what I was expecting, but it was so lush. It was green. Through the binoculars, we could see like people actually in their gardens. And yeah, I think one of the things, the biggest lesson for me in South Korea was people are not their governments. I don't know if that's a lesson I have shared before, but first of all, people are not their governments, and second of all, always more than meets the eye. There's they have similar challenges in terms of rising expenses, not enough jobs. South Korea is such an interesting country. I made friends with a couple of girls, and then also I've got an ex-colleague who now lives and works in South Korea. So met up with them, and yeah, we just had so many conversations as I tried to unpack and understand what was happening in the country. There is also another really fascinating thing about beauty, guys. And interestingly enough, like plastic surgery is quite normal, which I found interesting. And beauty is very, very highly regarded. So if you want to also get some work done, cosmetic surgery, apparently South Korea is one of the places you should strongly consider visiting. Another interesting thing about South Korea is, again, it was just as hot as Japan. And almost every other day, I would get an alert to say, only get out if it is absolutely necessary because it's way too hot out there. And they were not wrong. What I didn't understand at the time was how much, because I was in South Korea for just over 2 weeks. What I didn't understand while I was there is how much this was impacting me and my body, because from there I went to Thailand, And my first 3 days in Thailand, I felt so ill. I was literally bedridden for about 5 days. I was only supposed to be in Thailand for like 2 or 3 weeks, but I was just like, you know what? Let me just chill and see how it goes. I ended up getting an apartment for 2 months. And so in total, I was in Thailand for just under 3 months. Based in Thailand for just under 3 months. And I think that was really good because after I recovered, I think I just was attending to my health, getting all my massages. Thailand is nice for that because you can get like these $5 to $10 massages. I was going to the market, I was making my own food, meeting people, and it was quite nice to be in a place where I could make plans for next week or in 2 weeks with people. So made a few good friends. I joined a hiking group that went hiking every Saturday. What else did I do? Oh, I started boxing. I got my motorbike license. I say I was chilling, but when I'm listing out all the things that I was doing, I think I was still doing a lot. But like I was doing a lot of things that I loved, and I love the fact that I was settled in one place. I was volunteering as well with food charity, and I learned so much with them. And then did a few photo shoots, which was great. So it was like a lot of creative chilling. Went to comedy shows, went to music shows. So it was just like all encompassing rest and relaxation, but in a place that builds me. Thailand, like I've mentioned before, has a special place in my heart because it's the first place that I went solo, and I was in Chiang Mai. I really like the north because it's a little bit more chill and you have all the forests and all the hiking trails. So it's like quite nice. I wish I had the chance to go back to Pai. Well, I did have the chance, but I just didn't have a strong will to go back. But after about 2.5 months in Chiang Mai, I do destination party planning on the side, and so there is someone who was planning celebration, and they wanted me to check out one of the islands, Koh Samui Island specifically. And so I went down to the island, and I was just venue location scouting, so to speak. So spent a few days in the island, and also, what are the odds? The day I got to Koh Samui, it was like pouring, but I was lucky enough to be staying at like quite a nice resort, because island life, I'm like, you know what, just live a little. And so that was really good. And went around scouting for locations. I went to Koh Samui and Koh Phangan. I think those are the two islands that I visited during that stay. And then afterwards I went to Bangkok, met up with an old high school friend, which was lovely. And I'm like, I think I feel so blessed to have people, in as much as I don't like the fact that we've had to move all over the world. I think it's a blessing to just be able to connect with people in different parts of the world, just have some familiarity back, speak a bit of Shona, and just reminisce on old times, just catch up on where life is for us. My girl blessed me with a good time, and also very interesting to hear her experience of living in Thailand. While I was in Thailand, because of the way the visa is set up, after 30 days I have to leave the country for a visa run. So I went to Taiwan, and Taiwan blew my mind, guys. So if you know, like, Taiwan has got history with China. They are some of the biggest producers of semiconductors in the world. So like, they have lots of money. It's not a poor country. And so I was quite surprised when I arrived, because I took the train in Taipei from the airport down to Taipei Central. And as I walked out, it was dark. I just saw so many homeless people. And I think, that surprised me. And I guess it was just a reminder of just the wealth disparity in some parts of the world. Then I started exploring. The culture is so rich. The food, the number of like food markets I went to when I was in Taiwan, I was just like, girl, you know your waist. Where was it, by the way? Oh my god, it was so much fun. And then I went out to the tea plantations. I went to Yanglio, which is like this geothermal site where it looks like you're on the moon. They have like wind erosion on some of the rock faces over there. I went to like some of the hot springs. I literally just got lost in the city. The people are so friendly because a few times I got lost. People will redirect me back to where I was supposed to be. They have old towns. They have some beautiful temples. Hopefully I have a picture of like this, one of the most beautiful temples I've ever visited, and it was in Taipei. It was such an incredible experience of learning, unlearning. One thing that I found fascinating is just how friendly people were. I'm not sure why, but I just didn't expect people to be so open, so helpful, so friendly. While I was there, I was staying in a hostel like right in the center of Taipei, so a lot of things were within walking distance from me. Met some very interesting people. There's a few African diasporans that I made for school, because apparently Taiwan gives them pretty cool scholarships, and because they are quite big in engineering, a lot of people, I met a few people who went there for that. And yeah, it's an interesting place to be, and I would highly recommend a trip to Taiwan. Just so fascinating. Okay, so my lesson from Taiwan is, guys, let's root for the underdogs. Sometimes they're just underdogs, but they're packing a good punch. So that's one. Then after that, I went to finally go see my cousin who lives in Canada. She's in Vancouver, and like for the first few days, I'm like, girl, I came here to see you. She's like, aren't you gonna go out and see something? I'm like, no, I came here just for you, girl, just for you. And so eventually I was given layers and layers to encourage me to go out and explore. And oh my god, Vancouver is actually a very nice city. Like, it's very modern, very well built up, people are friendly, and there's just so much space. I actually really like Vancouver. The prices though, even more so, because I was coming from Asia, I'm like, yo, why am I paying $20 for a sandwich? Okay, $20 is an exaggeration, but like $15 for a sandwich. I'm like, what's in this sandwich? Like, is this gonna fill me up for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Like, I was coming from Asia, so I had to do the adjustment. And it was almost Christmas, and they were preparing with all the Christmas decorations. And yeah, I really enjoyed my time there. I really enjoyed hanging out with my cousin again. I hadn't seen her for such a long time, and so it was good to just catch up and yeah, just do our thing in person rather than over the phone for a change. My lesson from Canada, guys, like cold weather is cold weather. It's not my choice of holiday. Like winter holidays are my thing. Not like I like extreme heat. I think I just prefer temperate climates. And next time I will go to Canada will be in the summer. Unless it's for work, then I'll go whenever work requires me to, you get what I mean? Apart from the cold, Canada has a lot to offer. Again, because I'm a nurture girly, like I have seen so much that I would love to do and explore in Canada. I just haven't had the opportunity because I think there's a small window to explore Canada. And also Western countries were not quite high on my priority of places. So you'll notice that in my travels, most of the time I was in Western countries or like really expensive places. I was staying with friends or family because I'm not yet money like that to afford hotels and nice places. Rich country, but give it time. I'm hopeful. The grind continues. And while I was there, I went to the US to visit my aunt and uncle, and it was really cool. I really enjoyed. I was the only child in the house. I was like the little baby in the house, and I got like baby treatment, and it was fun. I was catching up with my aunt, I was catching up with my uncle, and then they lived in Washington State. Due to my previous experiences in the US, I had no deep desire to visit the US again. And I had told myself that if I were to go back, it will mainly be for work or to visit family. And yeah, this was the family thing. And I guess I just had a terrible experience, particularly in San Francisco, a little bit San Antonio, but mostly in San Francisco. Went to a restaurant, went to quite a few places where I was kind of turned away. Luckily for me, I'm stubborn, and because on the backpacker trail, there's not very many people that look like me, and so ended up just going out with other people, and then they would secure tables or go into places, and then I just follow them. But I think I just don't like having to do that, because I'm like, I'm my own person. Why are you discriminating against me just because of the color of my skin? I find that annoying. But yeah, sometimes the world can be like that. So Seattle like just blew my mind. People are so chill, people are friendly. It was also just before Christmas, and so everything was lit up. The Seattle Tower. It was just good to do like touristy stuff in the country with my aunt and uncle, and we walked a lot. We walked a lot. We ate a lot, and then the biggest thing for me is, like I've said before, I don't go shopping. Well, I don't travel to shop. But when I was in the US, guys, my aunt left me in, first of all, she took me to a mall, and I'm getting ideas. Then she took me to this shop, literally after work. She's like, hey girl, Vim said you like this shop. Let's just go see. It's like TK Maxx, but on steroids. Literally, in the end, my aunt and uncle went and sat in the car. I had like a trolley full of stuff. I did so much shopping. I had to get another bag. I was so embarrassed. But yeah, like it was around Black Friday time, so I don't recommend, if you don't want to shop and your self-control can be limited and you have limited funds, don't tempt yourself with the US during Black Friday, because they will take all your money and you will give it to them with a smile on your face. The lesson learned from there is, one experience in one part of a country is not reflective of the whole country. I think next time, if I am thinking about going to visit the US, I'll do a little bit more research and try and find Black-friendly places to visit, because I don't know, like, I don't like being in places where I don't feel welcome. And that not only goes for countries and travel, even in relationships with people, jobs, like all that kind of stuff. Like, if I'm not welcome, juices, if you make it known to me, like, I am comfortable enough in my skin to say no to certain opportunities. Unless I just really have to be there, then I'll suck it up, and then as soon as I can, I'm out. That is that. And so, yeah, I think that encapsulates my final 10 countries in my 2023 travel. I hope you found this helpful, and I highly encourage you to put comments below. So my next video, I'm just going to be sharing some travel misadventures, mistakes, things I would do differently. And the episode after that, I would like to do like a Q&A. So please send through any questions you might have about my travels over that period, anything specific about a country, how I traveled, like anything that you think you would like to know. Like I said, the purpose of sharing some of these videos is not only to share my travels and what I did, but also to kind of help other people who are potentially planning their own trips, big adventures, small adventures, whatever it is. So if you can send through whatever questions you might have, and I will within a week aim to do a video to answer all your questions. And so yeah, please, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with anyone you think might be interested. I want to try and get my subscriber count to 100 by the end of the month, so I would really, really appreciate you. The videos are about to get juicier. I've got more coming up for you. And if you also want, please share with me other things you might want me to get into detail to show you, because as you can imagine, I've got like a year's worth of footage, and I am happy to share things that you think might be helpful or interesting. And yeah, let's explore more of the world together. It's your girl, Miss T, checking out.